Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today. And we're here to talk about Josh James, the Astros relief pitcher. I actually really don't know what he's going to bring for the Astros when he comes back. I don't know. He might pitch tomorrow. We'll see. But, he's been a starting pitcher. He's been a relief pitcher. He's been a closer. He's been pretty much everything. Something he will not be is a starting pitcher. But we'll be kind of talking into, does Josh James deserve a second chance? I like Josh James. I think he's a good pitcher. I was upset that they didn't call him up as soon as he got activated from the IL. But now that he's been added to the roster because starting pitcher Zach Greinke has been... now that starting pitcher Zach Greinke has gone to the IL, 10-day IL because of the COVID list. I have originally thought that when I saw this happen, that Josh James would have a chance to get a start, but then we saw Jose Urquidy get activated from the injured list, so. That chance is over now that Jose Urquidy is back. That's something he will not be. He was a starter last season. Just started the season as a starter. Was a starter for maybe the first 10 games or something like that. Then got hurt. Never really got that same health back. And then came back and was sent to the bullpen. And then got hurt again and had major surgery, which he was out for more than half of the season for, then originally got sent to the minors after he was healthy. But, stats, he got called up in 2018, was 2-0 as a pitcher in 2018, with a 2.35 ERA, which is really good. Only gave up 15 hits, gave up 7 walks, got 29 strikeouts. 29 strikeouts in 6 games is pretty good for a rookie. 3 game starts, 23 innings pitched. Yeah. Then in 2019, had a little bit of a more harder year. Went 5-1, but that ERA just busted way up, 4.70. Gave up 46 hits, 35 walks, 100 strikeouts. But played way more. In that rookie year, he only played 6 games. Now he played 49 games. So having those higher stats was more, more acceptable. Only giving up 46 hits and having a 4.70 ERA. I would bet the only reason that ERA in 2018 was so low or so good was because, he only played 6 games. But had 1 game start, 61.1 innings pitched, got 1 save, so that was all right. Then last season was 1-0 with a 7.27 ERA, so that ERA just gets worse every year, and it's not getting. And I bet this year it'll be better than 7.27, but we really don't know. Gave up 15 hits, 17 walks, got 21 strikeouts. 13 games, 2 game starts, 17.1 innings pitched. So does Josh James deserve a second chance? A lot of Astros fans were wanting him to be DFA'd, designated for assignment, which I do not want. I want Astros fans, and I want the Astros to see what he can bring off the bullpen. Now that he can be on this roster, because now MLB teams have been available to expand their rosters from 26 to 28 man on the active roster. A lot of Astros fans believe Josh James is just a replacement until Pedro Baez returns from the 10-day IL, which I think if Josh James goes out there and plays well, that Josh James isn't going to leave this 28-man roster right now. So I think definitely deserves his second chance. I think right now, Josh James is definitely starting pitcher, but it's just Josh James is not, the pitching on this team is just, it's too, They have too many good starting pitchers. That's the only reason why he's not a starting pitcher. Last year when the pitching was not that great, didn't have a lot of depth at the pitching, he was the starting pitcher. He was fourth in the starting pitching. It was when the season started, it was 1 Verlander, 2 Lance McCullers Jr., 3 Zach Greinke. Then it was 4 Josh James and 5 Framber Valdez. The depth at the pitching was not that great. But then the Astros added guys like Luis Garcia and Christian Javier and Jake Odorizzi. So, yeah, but that's pretty much it. I do believe that Josh James deserves a second chance, and we'll get to see if we can see him pitch tomorrow in San Diego. I believe we will, but I don't know. I don't want to jinx anything, but hopefully we do get to see him pitch tomorrow when they play the Padres. I don't know the time, to be honest. The last couple weeks I haven't really been paying attention to the Astros. I've been paying attention to the Texans a lot because they've restarted up. But now this is the end of the season for the Astros. I tend to a lot when it's the end of the season for the Astros just stop focusing on them and start paying attention more to the Texans because they're starting up. But when the Astros get in playoff mode, I'm revamped, and I'll just enjoy Astros playoff baseball because sometimes it gets annoying to watch a full 160 game season. So when it's at the end of the season, I kind of I don't focus a lot on the Astros as I do in the beginning and the middle of the season. But then when there's the final couple of games of the season and then the playoffs start, I'm revamped. I'm ready to go and don't feel boring to watch. Just don't make it feel like it's just regular Astros baseball. So yeah, that's why you haven't seen a lot of Astros content anymore because, number one, I've been so focused on the Texans. Number two, I don't want to make pre or post games that I'm not really watching the games to. Yes, I will tune in for a little bit on the Astros game, check it out. If it's an interesting or close game, I'll watch it a little bit, but it's not that interesting for me right now. But once we get in the middle or end of September, I think I really just start to get really excited for playoff baseball or Astros playoff baseball. But yes, I do believe Josh James deserves a second chance. And we'll see if he gets to stay on the roster because the Astros are having a lot of IL problems right now. You got Zach Greinke on the IL. You got Pedro Baez on the IL. You got Chas McCormick on the IL. You got Taylor Jones on the IL. There's so many players on the IL. There's 2 or 3 I can't think of that are on the IL right now. So there are a lot of IL problems, injured list problems right now. And if all those guys come back, there's probably a good chance if all those good guys come back that Josh James would not be on this roster because there's just so much talent that is injured right now. And that's a big reason why Josh James is back on this roster. But we'll see if he pitches tomorrow off the bullpen. And, yeah, let me know what your thoughts on Josh James are. If you like him as a pitcher. I like him as a pitcher. And if you like him staying with an Astros role on this team. So that's it for the video. And peace out. Go Stros.